Hi, I'm Katie from What Katie Did, and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about your wardrobe and corsets. It's a question that comes up quite frequently on corset forums, and also I was chatting to Hannah, who works in our Burbank boutique, a few months ago, and she was quite surprised that I'd got none of my clothes tailored to fit. I've been wearing corsets daily for over 5 years now, and I've got quite an extreme figure, and basically I still buy everything off the peg. I fit everything to my waist. I tend to go for full skirts, so it's really only the top half is fitted, but I buy everything off the peg and nothing is tailored at all. I know I read everywhere that you can get things tailored, but if I'm going to pay to get something tailored, I'm going to make it myself in the first place, which I do very rarely as well, because I just don't have enough time. So if you are thinking about starting to wear a corset on a daily basis and you're worried about your clothes suddenly not fitting, that isn't the case, and that's not something you really need to worry about. I can remember when I got pregnant that I was convinced that I'd wake up the next morning, and suddenly none of my dresses would fit. And so I rushed out into town and bought 3 monstrous maternity dresses that you wouldn't believe. And I think I wore them a few times right at the very, very end. I mean, it's the same with corsets. Is 95% of the clothes you currently wear, you'll still be able to wear with a corset. And although I do have a couple of skirts now that I can't wear without a corset, that is, just a couple of items out of my whole wardrobe. So really, it's something you don't have to worry about. Even today, when I buy clothes, I always make sure that I can wear them both with and without a corset. I've mentioned that I've got a couple skirts where I can't actually do the waistband up when I'm not wearing a corset. But with those, if I get home and I just want to relax on the sofa, then I just take the corset off and undo the zip, and that's fine. No one else is going to see me. But the rest of the time, I do make sure that I can wear the dress with or without a corset, because I don't want to be stuck in a situation where I feel uncomfortable with a corset. There's some days where it might be super hot, or it might be the time of the month, or you just might be fed up, and you don't want to be stuck thinking I can't take the corset off. So I'd always even now, after many, many years, I still make sure that I can wear my clothes without a corset as well as with a corset. And I'll show you now how it looks with and without a corset, that I can wear it. Hopefully you'll be able to see the difference when I'm wearing it and when I'm not wearing it. But I wear them with and without, and they look great either way. When you look at fashion and the fabrics used in fashion today, most of the fabrics have a little bit of give. It's like I'm wearing this skirt from the Pretty Dress Company, and although it's supposedly a non-stretch fabric, there is a give to the waistband, probably a good inch or so, and it's quite easy to wear with or without a corset. The only skirts that I've come across which have no stretch at all there's cotton circle skirts by Vivian of Holloway. There's the Jenny skirt by Pin Up Girl Clothing. There's a few dresses and skirts by Trashy Diva. The dresses have adjustable waistlines, but I've got a couple skirts by them which are non-stretch waistbands. But on the whole, there is a lot more give to clothes than you think. If you're worried about the waistbands being too big when you're wearing a corset to begin with, this isn't such a problem at all, because to start with, you won't be having a great reduction, and it's quite disappointing, really. When I first put people in corsets, they always want to measure their waistband because they look amazing, but when you actually measure outside the corset, the actual reduction is let's say disappointing, because it's not a huge reduction. It's basically the whole shape and the smoothing out of the lines which really makes the visual difference. So if you start wearing a corset, your skirts will fit probably the same as before. In fact, it might even be hard to do the zip up, because whereas the human body squishes, and it's easy to do up because the body squishes the zip, when you're doing it over a corset, the corset, there's no give at all, so it can be quite difficult. As you reduce small, then your accessory of choice will be belts, and if a skirt waistband is slightly too big when you're wearing a corset like this one is, I simply wear it with a belt. Wide belts, which you can pick up at any vintage-inspired brands, their websites or their stores, they're just a godsend. And I have to admit that I used to hate elastic belts, and now I tend to wear one nearly every day. I like them because you can, they stretch with your body, so you can wear them with or without a corset. You can wear them, if you have to loosen the corset, it doesn't really matter. They're totally adaptable. I've got several elastic belts. My favourite one is by H&M, which is a high street store. They tend to go in and out of fashion, so you can pick them up at high street stores on occasion. I haven't seen any recently, but a few years ago they were all over the place, and I picked up some really nice ones. If they are out of fashion, then you need to go to your nearest vintage-inspired boutique or website. My favourite elastic belts are actually made by Vivian of Holloway in the UK, and they are quite expensive, but they are definitely worth money, because the elastic she uses is a very high quality elastic. It's got a lot of stretch, there's a lot of control to it, and also the metal work she uses for the clasps is very, very strong. Having said that, if you're going to buy these in, 3 or 4 colours, it does work out as quite expensive, so I've only got a couple of Vivians. You can also find cheaper elastic belts by people like Hell Bunny, and you'll find with them is they do the job perfectly well. The elastic is stretchier, not so controlling, so you don't get such a nice line to the waist. And also I have had issues with the metal wear isn't quite as strong, so it can bend a little bit, but it does the job perfectly well. So really it depends on your budget. I pick up the cheaper ones for the colours I don't wear so often, so if I'm just going to wear something occasionally, it's like I've got a jade green one, which I've got like a couple jade green outfits, so I've just got a cheap one to wear with those 2 outfits. But if I'm wearing red or black, something I wear all the time, then I've got my expensive Vivian one. If you have any questions about how to dress when you're wearing a corset, then please get in touch. And in the meantime, take care, and I'll catch up with you soon.